Spring. Toronto. Beneath the hustle and bustle of human activities, the grassroots citizens of the city live under their own set of laws and have their own law enforcement. One day, a Canada Geese couple, Mr. and Mrs. Gosling, reported to the animal police that their neighbor, an old Canada Goose, had been missing for several days and they were concerned.
I am Lieutenant Robin. What is the name of your neighbor?
He wanted us to call him Mr. Mongoose.
Can you describe him?
Yes. I say he is about 1 meter tall, sturdy build, probably 6 kilograms.
Any distinguishing features?
Nothing unusual. He has a gray feather in his tail.
When did you notice that he went missing?
He makes his home in Dempsey Park not far from us. Sometimes he goes away for an hour or so, but is always around during mealtime. But since 3 days ago, we haven't seen him in the park at all.
Okay, thanks for bringing this to us. Sergeant Cardinal will lead our investigation.
Mr. and Mrs. Gosling, I will come to Dempsey Park this afternoon to look around.
Okay. Let us know what we can do to help.
Sergeant Cardinal, take Officer Starling with you, and look for any evidence of struggle, and anything unusual.
Aye, sir.
Oh, also collect DNA samples, and try to find surveillance camera footage. Mongoose smells like an alias to me. I want to find out who he is.
Aye, sir.
At Dempsey Park, Sergeant Cardinal and Officer Starling went to work. They checked all the nooks and crannies in the park. But other than some feathers and some droppings at Mongoose home, there was nothing else.
Starling, take these droppings to Pigeon for him to analyze.
How? I don't have talons.
Use your beak.
You've got to be kidding.
Back at the crime lab, Technician Pigeon confirmed that the droppings came from Mongoose.
The DNA of the droppings matches that of the feather, so they came from the same bird.
Let's check the database to see who he really is. I'll look at the surveillance videos.
I'm on it. Okay, I found him.
At this point a squirrel came to Lieutenant Robin's office.
Lieutenant Robin, I'm Sergeant Major Fluffy of the RCMP Squirrel Squad. You guys are looking for a missing Canada Goose, right?
Yes?
Well, we'll take over from here.
What do you mean? The disappearance happened in our jurisdiction.
Nah, he is a Canada Goose, so it is national level.
There are thousands of Canada geese in Toronto.
Yes, you said it. Canada Geese. Canada.
Can you hold still? You are making me dizzy.
Negative. In our business, you become a target if you stay in one place too long.
Sergeant Cardinal came in at this time.
Lieutenant, you are right. Mongoose' real name is Montgomery Gooseman. He was the monarch of the Ontario Canada Geese. See? What did I tell you? His face is on the $100 bill.
So what do you want from us?
Just hand me your files, and tell me what you've got so far, then you can go back to pecking worms.
Damn you rodents.
Back at the RCMP regional headquarters, Sergeant Major Fluffy discussed the case with Inspector Cheeks, who was assigned to this case.
What do you think, Inspector Cheeks?
I'm gonna take a different approach than the birds. First, I'll find out what Mongoose had done in the past. And second, what did he do in the days leading up to his disappearance?
All right, let's do it. But I don't think the bird police are giving up on the case yet. I will put some ice on them.
Inspector Cheeks then went about digging into Montgomery Guzman's past. And he found that Guzman joined the Air Force when he was young, had a mate and 6 offsprings. All of them joined the Air Force. He was chosen by the Canada Geese of Ontario as their monarch in 2016. Then something terrible happened. In the summer of 2017, he led a training mission of 20 geese west of Toronto, including his entire family. During the flight, they hit an airplane that killed 12 of the 20 members, including his mate and 5 of his children. Guzman was unhurt but disappeared a few days later. He was not seen since, until now. And he kept a low profile, by using an alias, so that no one knows who he was. Meanwhile, a squirrel was tailing the bird police. But the birds seemed to have lost interest in the case.
What have you got on Guzman? Is there foul play?
There are not many animals around the city capable of taking down a large bird like a Canada goose. I mean, yes, there are cats, dogs, and the occasional fox. I nabbed a few into custody for questioning, but they are clean.
Why is Guzman using alias? Is he hiding something?
Well, Guzman is a loner. Some witnesses said that Guzman was seen talking to himself, and the night before he vanished, he was seen drinking at a local watering hole, alone.
So, does he have a mental problem?
Hard to say. I see birds talking to themselves all the time. And I have witnesses who saw him doing some morning exercise and playing soccer with some local geese a couple of days before disappearing. These activities seem normal to me.
What's our next step then?
I'll see if I can track down his surviving son from the accident.
Okay, keep me posted.
For days, Inspector Cheeks tried to find the lone surviving child of Guzman, with no success. He too seemed to have disappeared. With no clue to go on, the case went cold. Months passed. And autumn came to Toronto. One day, Guzman showed up in Dempsey Park again. So Mr. and Mrs. Gosling went to the Birds Police to close the file.
We were surprised, he just turned up yesterday.
Did he fly north?
Yes. So you already know.
We thought he was leaving Toronto because he left nothing behind at his home. But we want to wait for him to show up again to be sure.
Later that day, RCMP Sergeant Major Fluffy came to see Lieutenant Robin.
So, I heard you guys knew that Guzman migrated to the north. Why didn't you tell us?
Well, we weren't 100% sure. You see, some Canada geese migrate but some don't, and we want to see Guzman alive before we close the case.
Jeez, you birds are complicated. We don't even understand the concept of migration.
Maybe it is to you squirrels. You would not understand a bird's instinct to migrate, just as we do not understand your instinct to hibernate.
Well, mutual understanding don't come easy. It's good that we can conclude the case. Thanks, birds.
Cheers.
And so, the birds, the squirrels, and Toronto returned to their everyday lives.
Hello?
Hey, Lieutenant Robin? I'm Fluffy of the RCMP. There are a few things I still don't understand.
Shoot. See if I have an answer for you.
Where did Guzman go after the 2017 accident?
The public thought he was so guilt-ridden by the accident that he gave up the crown and went into self-seclusion.
But what?
But Goosemon told us that, when the accident happened, his surviving son was the lead goose. You see, birds in flight formation take turn at the lead. So Goosemon shouldered the responsibility and kept his son away from the media to protect him.
That's what I would do for my son too.
Yes. The two of them had been taking the Lake Erie migration route in the past few years. So we didn't see him here. This spring, they want to move back to Toronto, but they don't want any public attention.
Too bad. This case put them back on stage, I'm afraid.
I know. Goosemon will leave Toronto for good this time.